My name is Reverend Walter Silver Thompson, Jr. I've been pastoring here at Calvary Baptist Church for 7 years now. I live in the church parsonage adjacent to the church, and it's been an exciting time here in East Hampton. Well, basically, I had to consider several things. One is, how long would the pandemic be? What kind of effect that it would have on the congregation? And how would we change how we do church? We decided that after the first Sunday in March, that we would go to Zooming our services as opposed to having regular Sunday morning services here in the sanctuary. African American church is accustomed historically to the call and response on Sunday mornings. So when I didn't get that, it sounded empty, and we missed, that embrace on Sunday morning. We miss smiling and looking at one another's face and the expressions that manifest themselves as a result of fellowshipping together and coming together, hugging one another, expressing our love and appreciation and excitement to see one another again after being away all week. But we couldn't do that. And so that was a real struggle, not only for myself, but also for my parishioners as well. I think the church was looking to me on how to proceed. How do we look at the abnormality of our times and how it is impacting us in our immediate families? How is it affecting us not only biologically, but how is it affecting us economically? Spiritually, it also changed because it allowed the family members to also get a chance to get to know one another even better. And for some, it was a real struggle because they were forced to do some things that they had never had to do before. And so that's how I began to explain the pandemic. God in this is helping us to look at not only ourselves, to look at the church and how we do church. How do we make sense of what seems to be a tragedy and a crisis, not only in our community, but also in our nation? There are many passages of scripture that talks about in the last days, there shall be famine and pestilence. The Bible talks about all of these things taking place, but it also affirms its commitment to give hope. My responsibility was to fortify that hope, that it becomes even more reality. And because of the situation of the pandemic itself, that they had to really turn to something that was concrete, something that they could hold on to really help them to stabilize them in an unstable situation. There were families who lost family members as a result of the COVID. I had to, as the pastor, preside over a funeral and to help family members to make funeral arrangements a little different. How do we do this now that we cannot come to the local church? Those who could not come, we were able to set up on an iPad the eulogy and the family members expressing their love and appreciation for someone who's gone on they've dearly loved, but also taking them to the cemetery and watching the pastor give the last rites to the individual who's transitioned on in life. And so we were able to set up the ways in which family members were to be a part of that, even though they could not be there. I've learned a greater appreciation for humanity, that we need one another. None of us an island to ourselves. The church became more visible during the pandemic if we were about those commands that the Lord has placed upon us to love one another, to be kind to one another. You had to reach out, or you would find yourself on a lonely island by yourself. And there were many people, unfortunately, who needed, psychological and emotional counseling. I've had to do some of that as well, and also direct people to other places where they can go to get the kind of help that is needed. And so that's what I felt this pandemic really did for me during this period, and helped me to really augment my understanding of what it means to be the church in a community. I would say hope. And what I mean by hope is that we've come through some great periods in human history. And the pandemic really helped us to understand that there is hope, even in the midst of a pandemic, even in the midst of hopelessness, even in the midst of the loss of jobs, even in the midst of people going to bed hungry. And I think there were other people who understood the importance of hope, who really got involved, who really sparked hope in the hopeless. And it really helped us to really reach out into the lives and into the community with hope, to instill hope again, or to make hope alive again in our community.